All right, welcome back to another Zero Downtime podcast. How you doing today, Logan?
Doing well.
All right, we've got a good show here today. I got my slides all messed up. So on today's show, I did 10 things today instead of like 4 big ones. So that way we can kind of just touch on lighter subjects rather than get really deep into the weeds. I don't feel like either of us are very good at that. So we're going to talk about Sakana AI. And I think I tried this yesterday, spent $60 in tokens. I should have just paid for the $20 a month plan, but whatever.
Because does that give you more tokens?
Probably not, but I wanted to test it because I do think that this is the future of how AI is going to work. So I want to talk about that. LibrePods breaks Apple's AirPods walled garden. Use your AirPods anywhere. AMD reverses course and after users pushed back about a removed security feature. And this one I found interesting because, well, we'll get into it. A man was criminally convicted for pirating CDs in 2026. I mean, as a former CD pirate myself, I found this interesting.
Who knew this was still a problem?
Let's see. Researchers discovered a potentially unpatchable iPhone exploit. And this one's really good because it's just getting better by the day. And it's even going to work in iOS 27.
Ooh.
Yeah. Apple may have just made hide my email easier to block. So this is bad. So I want to talk about that because, obviously, that's one of their security things is being able to hide your email address.
Yeah.
And if people can block it, then that's bad. Let's see. Amazon One Medical reportedly targeted by your pals.
Shiny hunters.
Did ear acupuncture cure tick-borne red meat allergy? I found this one interesting just because Matt, one of the owners of A&P, his brother suffers from this alpha-gal syndrome, and so that was interesting to me. So I'm going to bring it up. Verizon just blew up its wireless lineup. So this is a good one because I just want to go over with our listeners what's going on with the Verizon plans.
Okay.
So then the last one, the latest iPhone Fold leak has arrived.
Woo.
Yeah. So, but first, I want to go into the meme of the day. It's based on the CDs. So it says, drivers today are so distracted by technology. Me in the 90s and the guys flipping through CDs in the car.
I have to ask, because I know you would have had tons and tons of CDs.
Yeah.
Were yours organized like that or just in a big old pile?
So I had one of those CD binders. I did.
You did.
In fact.
And you kept them organized.
Yeah. When that was full, then no. But I actually had a 6-disc CD changer in my Camaro.
Of course you did.
Yeah. But no, I mean, so I was big into the burning CDs.
Well, that's what I figured.
For people, and so I had tons of custom burnt CDs. Like I didn't hardly buy music at all. Just download it on Napster, burn it. You know the burning software was called Nero Burning ROM.
No,
because Nero burnt Rome.
You probably very much enjoyed that.
That's always funny. So, how was your week last week?
It was good.
Yeah. Anything happen?
We wrapped up basketball.
Oh, sweet. Both daughter, son, both.
Just Wyatt. Emery wasn't playing basketball this summer.
Okay.
But
they're playing baseball?
Yes.
Yeah.
We're almost done.
Almost done. Because you're just in like the city leagues, right? Is that how that
they
works?
both they travel with their they just go with their school team, which is usually not too far around.
Okay.
But nope, we wrapped up in Sioux City for basketball. So he's off now for that. And I think both their last baseball and softball tournaments are this weekend.
Did you go to Texas Roadhouse in Sioux City?
Did not.
Oh, what a waste.
Did you want me to?
Yeah.
Do you like Texas Roadhouse?
So from the World Cup here, I've been watching all these foreigners talk about the United States. And there was a dude from, I think he was from France.
Okay.
And he was talking about air conditioning. And about how amazing it is.
Oh, I'm surprised. They probably all got colds.
And he's just like, oh, man, I go into the room. I don't do a French accent, but I go into the room. I turn the air conditioning on real cold, and then I cover up with the blanket. He goes, Americans just put ice in everything. I was at the hotel for breakfast, and somebody put ice in their milk.
That sounds crazy.
But then there was another dude from Australia traveling with his son, and they were talking about the Texas Roadhouse. Like, they give you a bag of peanuts, and then they give you the rolls, and then they just keep coming. Just order a steak. They have steak. It's just all the, obviously I get a big kick out of that.
Yeah.
So
it's pretty entertaining.
yeah, no. So I've been enjoying watching some of those videos. I also watched, there's this guy, Xiaoman is his name, Xiaoman NYC. He's he doesn't call himself a polyglot, but he's really good at language learning.
Okay.
And he was asked to present to a group of students why learning languages was important. And I made my kids watch this too. He did it in Gen Alpha language.
What does that even mean?
So my kids, I don't know if your kids do this, but my kids, there's a whole like
shortening up stuff.
Yeah, like Delulu.
Yeah.
Vibin.
I know what you're
like all these words. Anyways, he did the entire speech using their slang. It was so funny. And my kids were just cracking up, like listening to him read the speech. My daughter was even correcting him. It was wrong. I wouldn't have used it that way. Well, so last week we talked a lot about the UK and the 16 and under, and how I think it's just going to be mass surveillance.
Yes, for social media.
Yeah. So in the last 24 hours, the Prime Minister of the UK has quit. Yeah, he resigned.
All over this.
Well, no, there's a whole different thing. We're not going to talk about that happened in the UK.
Okay.
Yeah, we're not going to talk about that. But when it's focused on what we talked about last week, and then what I'm going to mention now, I think that it's a push in the right direction. Now, when we say somebody in the UK quits, I'm not going to pretend I'm an expert on politics in the UK. I am not.
Okay.
But I have somewhat of an idea how the government works there. So there's a party in control. So there's the Labour Party, which is who Keir Starmer worked for.
Okay.
Or was in. And then the people vote for essentially the Congress. And then the Congress votes for the Prime Minister. So he was the guy that the Congress voted in place, and then now he resigned because he was awful. And so I don't know that it's really going to affect the 16 and under thing. But in the last week, they've really bitten hard into banning VPNs.
Okay.
So using a VPNs will be illegal.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, so you could use one to connect to your office in the UK because that's all regulated.
Yeah.
But if you use a VPN to connect outside of the UK, that'll be illegal. So.
And how will they regulate that?
I wanted the UK. The UK required whatever that silent instant messenger to put a backdoor in.
Wouldn't that have to be though through like your ISP?
Well, yeah, but I mean, the government will just require the ISPs to do certain things.
Well, that's what I meant. Like, isn't that the only way they would know if someone was connecting to a VPN?
Right. Yeah, probably. I mean, so anyways, that's not great.
No.
Microsoft, I just read this morning. Right now, the largest plan you can get for Microsoft Outlook or whatever, Exchange, whatever you want to call it, 365.
Yeah, I was going to say 365.
You get 50 gigabytes of mail storage.
Okay.
Microsoft is going to bump that to 100 gigs, and people are already seeing their mailboxes increase in size.
They're just bumping everyone.
Yeah, I think they maybe realize that 50 gig isn't good enough. Now, I'm usually the guy that will stand on the soapbox and say, "Don't save your emails. Your emails, just chew up space or whatever." But honestly, when you think about business and you think about how emails work, really, email is the perfect storage system.
Oh, I don't ever delete an email.
I know, but that's the problem is you've got guys that have had their mailboxes that maybe they've worked for the same company since 1995 and had Microsoft Exchange the entire time, and they've worked their way up.
Yeah.
And so they've got emails. I mean, shoot, my Great Lakes account has emails from the day we opened.
Yeah.
So.
For sure.
Well, I also learned this weekend that I am not a safe cracker, nor am I an arsonist.
Did you think you were a safe cracker?
Well, I thought, how hard could it be to crack a safe?
Did you, how long did you take actually trying to crack it before you just started bashing it?
So my cousin and I were working on this. So
Okay.
I probably spent an hour going online. It was a Century Safe going online, and it was the turn kind, not a push button kind.
Okay.
And so I probably spent an hour trying to figure out if there's a way to reverse it. And there were some ways that you could do it, but it was none that I was confident would work. And then I found one guy with a YouTube video that said, "Here's the perfect way to get into a Century Safe, 100% effective." He threw it on the floor and then put bars in it and opened it. So I
Was that your entry method?
yeah. So I decided that I would do that too, and that's what we did.
And you had success.
Yeah, we got in that way.
You got in.
Yeah, and then as far as being not an arsonist, we had a bunch of trash to burn, and I caught the yard on fire. So also not a good arsonist.
I mean, you like took out half a field before.
I never usually have to get the hose out, but I had to get the hose out this time. Normally I could stomp it to put it out, but
And what was your family doing while you were doing all this?
watching. All right, so
Probably entertained.
Sakana AI, they want to evolve. So they're an AI company, but they don't really do AI.
Okay.
So they take all these different open source models and then connect them together. And then when you make the request, they pick the best model for the job.
So it's like AI choosing which AI that
Correct.
you need to use.
Yeah. So let me just read what I wrote here and we'll talk about it a little bit more because it was pretty cool. So most of the AI industry is playing the same game: bigger models, bigger data centers, bigger training runs, and bigger budgets. A Japanese startup called Sakana, which means fish, by the way, AI, thinks everyone might be solving the wrong problem. Sakana was founded by former Google researchers, including, I don't know the guy's name, some Jones, one of the co-authors of the original Transformer paper, which is a different type of AI that does something similar, but it's a little different. That's kind of how Gemini works.
Okay.
And DeepSeek. That made modern AI possible. Instead of building a single giant AI model, they're focusing on creating systems where multiple models work together, evolve, and improve over time. Think of it less like building a bigger brain and more like building an ecosystem. Their technology combines and evolves existing AI models, allowing specialized models to cooperate and compete, producing new models that often outperform their individual parents. It's fundamentally different approach from just add more GPU strategy that's pursued by the rest of the industry. What's particularly interesting here is their latest model lineup. After testing it, many users were finding it surprisingly competitive with Anthropic's Fable model for creative writing, role-playing, world building, and long-form content generation. The difference is that Sakana's models don't carry the same export and regional restrictions that Fable currently faces. That's what we talked about that last week.
That's the one that came and got shut down.
Yeah.
Right away.
So this model or this AI agent is on par with Fable, but it doesn't have the restrictions. Unless you're in the EU, then there's GDPR restrictions and they can't use it, which I find hilarious.
But the government hasn't came after them.
Well, no, they're in Japan.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I said that.
I know, I missed that.
All right. As governments around the world begin treating advanced AI as strategic technology, we're seeing increasing export controls, licensing restrictions, regional availability limits, and compliance requirements placed on frontier models in practical terms. That means there are already AI systems that some countries and companies and researchers simply cannot access. Sakana represents an alternative future, a highly capable AI developed outside of the handful of dominant American labs and distributed with fewer geographic restrictions. Whether you're a business owner, developer, researcher, or just an AI enthusiast, accessibility matters. A model that's 95% as capable but available to everyone can often have larger real-world impact than a model that is slightly better but locked behind regional barriers. The broad takeaway is that AI development is starting to diversify. For the last few years, the industry conversation has been dominated by OpenAI, Anthropic, Google, and Meta. Sanka AI is showing that innovation doesn't always come from making bigger models. Sometimes it comes from asking completely different questions. And if they're right, the future of AI may look less like a giant superintelligence and more like a school of fish moving together. So I tested it yesterday, as I mentioned at the beginning of the show. I ended up putting $60 in.
Okay.
It passed my assembly whale test. I don't know, we've talked about that before.
Yep.
It passed it on the first try.
Okay.
No problems. I was able to resize the terminal even.
Did it tell you what model it ended up using to build it?
It didn't. It just picked one, and it apparently used the right one. I tried to tell it to take a binary copy of Duke Nukem 3D and build it in Flutter.
Yep.
So at first it built me a 3D game where I could walk through, but it was not Duke Nukem. So I pushed back, and then it actually did. It did start to use the GRP files from Duke Nukem, so I could go in and I could walk the levels, but there was no bad guys or any of that. But it was all native and Flutter.
Okay.
So really cool.
Yep.
And then lastly, I had it work on my Winamp clone.
Yep.
And with Claude, I was stuck at the equalizer trying to get the knobs just right. I put it into Sakana, whatever, and perfect. Did it. Got it right on the first try. Then I ran out of money. I decided not to put more in. So they got plans that are 20, 100, and 200, similar to Claude.
Yeah, I'm like, that sounds like Claude.
But as far as I could tell, there was no like chat space. So you have to wire in your own connection to do the API to talk.
Okay.
So I use Codex to do the coding, and that tied right into them. They have a Codex clone.
And you had said that you got so many tokens. How does their plans work? Do you know?
Like I say, it's similar to Claude. So just like Claude, you can buy tokens.
You just don't know what it's really.
I don't know what the limitations of the tokens are.
No one knows.
Well, so I know it's like $30 input, $50 output, and then there's an extra charge for context windows over 272,000. I do know that.
Okay.
Which is cheaper than Fable.
Okay.
So let's see. LibrePods breaks Apple's AirPods wall garden. Do you use AirPods?
Yeah.
So we talked about this in the past. You know, my oldest son got gifted AirPods, and kind of when all the football players stopped using AirPods, like the professional players, he stopped using his too.
Because he's 1-1 with a professional football player.
But it was one of those things like, you know, obviously the football players take really good care of their health.
Yeah.
They're aware of the things around them. And so, obviously all of them stopping using AirPods all at the same time probably meant something.
Yeah.
And so he actually quit using them at the same time, around the same time as them, and went back to wired. So I was just curious that you use AirPods, but all right. One of Apple's most successful business strategies has been convincing customers that the best Apple accessories work properly with Apple devices. That's very true. I mean, when you don't want to talk about the things working seamlessly, Apple to Apple works great.
Yep.
Always.
Yes.
You could buy something for Windows and it doesn't work right out of the box. But if it's Apple branded and it's a Apple device, they're always going to work.
I'm like, you usually have no question if it's going to work right away.
Right. The only thing I would say is the AirTags. I've struggled with the AirTags some, but other than that, I find it be good.
I agree, because I keep getting that I'm being followed, and I'm pretty sure it's my own AirTag.
Oh,
or you put one in my car.
I didn't do anything that I would tell you about.
I know it. I'm like, yeah, you're going to admit that.
So if you've ever paired AirPods to an Android phone or a Linux computer, you probably noticed that the earbuds technically work, but many of the premium features you paid for simply disappear. A project called LibrePods is trying to change that. LibrePods is an open source project created by developer Kavish Devar that reverse engineers the proprietary communication protocols between AirPods and Apple devices. The goal is simple. Give Android and Linux users access to the features Apple normally reserves for their stuff. We're not talking about just the Bluetooth connectivity. Obviously, that just works right now. LibrePods enables features like noise cancellation, controls, transparency mode, adaptive audio, battery reporting, ear detection, conversation awareness, automatic connection management, and other advanced AirPods functionalities that Apple intentionally limits in their own ecosystem. And the really fascinating part is how it works. The project reverse engineered Apple's proprietary AirPods protocol. In some cases, can even make Android and Linux devices appear more like Apple hardware to unlock features that otherwise would remain inaccessible. LibrePods represents a growing movement at pushing back against the ecosystem lock-in. Companies increasingly sell products that are technically capable of working everywhere, but intentionally restrict features to keep customers inside their own ecosystem. We've seen this in everything.
Yeah.
Everything.
That's just everything.
So you talk about printers and smart home devices. Those are the worst. Phones, watches, and now earbuds. LibrePods demonstrates that many of these restrictions aren't hardware limitations. They're simply software decisions. There's also a broader lesson here for the tech industry. One high school student in India was able to I forgot to mention that. He was in high school.
Awesome.
He was able to reverse engineer Apple's ecosystem to restore functionality that millions of users had already paid for. Whether Apple likes it or not, projects like LibrePods reminds consumers that ownership should mean more than renting access to features. If you buy the hardware, you should be able to use all of it. And that's a philosophy that open source developers continue to defend, one reverse engineer protocol at a time. I agree with this, and we're in the Midwest. And when we talk about reverse engineering and owning what you use, the thing that is in the forefront of everyone's mind here in the Midwest is John Deere.
Oh,
right.
Yes.
It's when you put a part in, I could go to the John Deere dealer, buy the part I need, put it in my tractor, and it still won't work because that part has to be put into the computer on the John Deere, and then says, "Yep, that part is allowed to work." It's theft. It's robbery, right? I own the tractor. I'm allowed to work on my tractor. I'm allowed to put this part on my tractor. I mean, I don't think John Deere understands, at least the Midwest, we work on our own stuff.
Correct.
We don't call the dealership every single time that there's a hiccup.
They want you to.
Oh, I know they do. It's no different than in, like we've talked about with cars in the past, like how everything now, when a car breaks down, it means, got to go to the dealership to get it fixed or get it, whatever changed in the computer.
Yep.
So stupid. Like you should be able to pop the hood and fix it on the side of the road, but you can't do that anymore. All right. AMD reverses course after users revolt over removed security feature. Now, this one is interesting because there was an encryption. So, this week we have a rare story in tech. Users complained a major hardware vendor listened and the company actually changed course. AMD has announced it will restore transparent secure memory encryption, or TSME, to consumer Ryzen 9000 processors through a BIOS update coming in July. TSME is a hardware security feature that encrypts everything stored in RAM using a generated key by the processor. If someone physically steals the computer, attempts a cold boot, and tries to extract information from the memory, the data remains encrypted and largely useless. The controversy started when security researcher Ben Kilpatrick discovered that the feature had quietly disappeared from the Ryzen processor after a firmware update. The silicon still supported the capability, but the new AGESA firmware disabled it on non-pro processors. What made users angry wasn't just the removal, it was nobody told them. It wasn't even in the notes. No major announcement, no warning, no clear explanation. AMD engineers initially provided little information, leading many users to suspect the company was intentionally moving the feature to the more expensive Pro line. Then something unusual happened. The community pushed back. Linux users, security researchers, motherboard vendors, and privacy advocates kept digging, documenting the issue, and publicly asking AMD to explain the change. The discussion gained enough traction that AMD eventually issued a statement saying the feature would be restored based on valuable community feedback. For years, consumers have become accustomed to features quietly disappearing through software updates. Hardware vendors remove functionality, lock devices, or reserve features for premium products, and users are expected to accept it. This time, they didn't. AMD deserves credit, of course, for reversing the decision, but the community deserves credit for catching it in the first place. Had a handful of security-conscious users not noticed the change, most Ryzen owners would have never known that the security feature they previously had was gone. It's a reminder that transparency matters, security features matter, and sometimes a loud enough technical communities can still influence the decisions of billion-dollar tech companies. So the real problem here wasn't that they removed the feature. They didn't remove in the BIOS where it said encrypt the memory.
Yeah.
There was still a toggle on off. And no matter where you toggled it, it was just forced off.
Okay.
So if you thought memory encryption was happening, it wasn't happening.
So even though you could turn it on,
Yeah, it still didn't encrypt.
it still didn't encrypt.
Yeah. So I think, in my opinion, that's worse than just removing the feature completely from the BIOS.
Yeah, just hiding it altogether.
Yeah, just hiding it all together. They did themselves a huge disservice
Do you
by
just think
that.
someone didn't realize that it was there? Like in that one spot.
Right.
Like there's one extra setting. They realized that, we didn't remove it from here.
Right. It's crazy. All right. A man was criminally convicted for pirating CDs in 2026. Yeah.
Is this your top story for today? Because I feel like you would love this story.
If you think copyright enforcement is all about torrents, streaming sites, and AI-generated content, here's a story that feels like it fell out of 2003. A 47-year-old man in the United Kingdom has been criminally convicted for selling pirated music CDs. Not digital downloads, not a torrent site, physical CDs. According to prosecutors, Mark Kearns, who performed as DJ Mark Landish, spent roughly 5 years burning copyrighted music onto discs and selling them through eBay, Facebook, and his own website. Authorities say the operation generated more than 220,000 euro.
Who is
pounds.
still buying CDs?
in revenue before it was finally shut down. His defense was surprisingly simple. He claimed he believed copyright infringement was a civil matter rather than a criminal one. The court was not persuaded. The Crown Court judge found that the scale and commercial nature of the operation crossed well beyond the realm of simple copyright dispute and into criminal conduct. Kearns ultimately received suspended sentence, 250 hours of unpaid work. I think that's like community service.
Probably.
And was ordered to pay more than £21,000 in cost. I think it's pounds. But the most interesting part of the case wasn't the conviction. It was the judge's commentary. During sentencing, the court noted that Kearns had previously complained about others copying and distributing his own music while simultaneously making money from unauthorized copies of other artists' work. The judge reportedly described it as hypocrisy of the highest order. And what makes this story worth talking about, many people still think of copyright as a civil issue, something I've never thought of it as a civil issue. Like it literally says in the beginning of a movie, there's a fine if you copy this.
Yes.
It doesn't say civil. It says civil or criminal.
Yeah.
Yeah. Something that results in takedown notices, lawsuits, or settlement letters. But once you start running a business around infringement, governments in many countries can and do pursue criminal charges. The other lesson is that physical media piracy never completely disappeared.
Can artists still come after him? Or since he's
assuming.
already been tried for this, that they can't come after him?
Well, I don't know that. It could be that that money goes into a pot to pay the artists, or the government steals it.
That is going to be your answer.
You know what I learned yesterday?
What?
You know how I complain about federal income tax?
You don't ever complain.
You know how I complain about federal income tax every year?
Every year.
Every year I bitch and moan. Do you know all I would have to do is move to Puerto Rico? They don't pay federal income tax.
Problem solved.
But the Virgin Islands.
You got options.
They don't pay federal income tax. I just learned this yesterday.
I don't know how you just... I mean, I didn't know that.
Yeah, you're surprised I showed up today.
Yeah, exactly. Logan, the show's done. I'm out of here.
I'll be in Puerto Rico if you need me. Anyways, while the music industry spent the last 2 decades focusing on Napster, BitTorrent, streaming services, and now AI, there are apparently still people burning CDs and shipping them through the mail in 2026. Somewhere out there, while the tech world argues about artificial intelligence, digital rights, someone is running a 5-year piracy operation that would have looked perfectly normal during the Windows XP era.
I mean, do your kids know what a CD is?
Yeah, they would know what a CD is. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know that they know that they had music on them. They would have known. Yeah.
I don't know if mine would know that you could take that disc and put it in. And
you gotta understand, like, a bunch of my childhood was burning and selling CDs. Like, so I have tons of CDs still, right?
Yeah.
Like, they just exist in my world. Like, I would buy spindles and spindles and spindles of CDs and burn them for my classmates and people at school.
Yep.
$5 a pop. Yeah.
Well, apparently you can start this back up.
Well, yeah, it looks like eBay opened up a whole world for me.
While you're in Puerto Rico,
come and get me in Puerto Rico.
Ship out your CDs.
Researchers discover a potentially unpatchable iPhone exploit. So if you're still holding on to the iPhone XS or iPhone 11, yes, older phones,
okay,
but still supported all the way up to iOS 27.
Okay.
The new one.
Yeah.
That's not out yet. That apparently added glass icons.
I thought
I did too.
Option.
I did too, and then they went
about your whole
and
episode.
then they went to beta 2, and now like the transparency for the icons are all glass. Looks awful.
You're not going to survive.
I might switch to Android. A newly disclosed security vulnerability could end up being one of the most significant iPhone hacking developments in years. Researchers have revealed what appears to be a boot level of vulnerability affecting Apple's A12 and A13 processors. Now, I'm pretty sure this processor they put in the Neo.
Oh.
So, same processor. Anyways, the chips found in devices like the iPhone XS, XS Max, and XR, and the entire iPhone 11 lineup. What makes this discovery particularly interesting is where the vulnerability exists. Most security flaws live in the software and can be fixed with an update. This one reportedly exists in the early boot process before iOS even starts loading. Because that code is effectively burned onto a chip at the factory, Apple cannot simply push an iOS update to eliminate the underlying flaw. In other words, if the findings hold up, affected devices may remain vulnerable for their entire lifespan. The exploit reportedly allows researchers to boot an unsigned bootloader. For the average user, nobody cares. But the jailbreak community is a very big deal. Jailbreaking is being able to install non-Apple apps on the iPhone.
Okay. So this is the only people that it's affecting.
Yeah, right. Tools like CheckRain and PowerRain rely on low-level boot vulnerabilities to gain control of Apple devices before the operating system starts. Until now, those tools have been largely limited to older generations of hardware. This new discovery could potentially expand support to the iPhone XS and iPhone 11 families, opening the door to new jailbreaks, custom operating systems, security research, and deeper device access. Apple has spent years systematically locking down the iPhone platform, making sure jailbreaks are increasingly rare. That's why boot ROM level vulnerabilities are so highly valued. They're among the closest things the security world has to a permanent exploit. And you have to keep in mind that Apple's test phones all allow unsigned bootloaders.
Okay.
So they actually have tools that like turn this off and on.
Okay.
So that way the security researchers inside of Apple can test for vulnerabilities before the phone goes out. So anyways, of course, there's another side of this story. The same characteristics that make a vulnerability valuable to researchers also make it valuable to attackers. A flaw that can't be patched at the hardware level means organizations need to rely on security controls rather than waiting for a software update to solve the problem. For most iPhone owners, there's no immediate reason to panic. Exploiting these kinds of vulnerabilities requires physical access, and specialized knowledge and significant technical expertise. They're using Raspberry Pi Picos plugged into the phone it's a USB vulnerability.
Okay.
And then they're basically tripping that right at boot time. So there's a timing element to it too. And it's not a permanent jailbreak, which means it doesn't survive reboots.
Oh, so if your phone restarted.
Yeah. So you have to plug that back in if your phone reboots to re-break the bootloader. I mean, it's not amazing, but it's still a vulnerability nonetheless.
Yep.
And an unpatchable vulnerability. So, yeah. So Apple may have made it easier. Boy, if I'm not picking on Microsoft, I guess I'm picking on Apple.
Seriously. I mean, and you just finally did say Microsoft in this episode.
I did. And I did at the beginning, the 100 gigs.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
But it was a good thing.
It was.
Oh, man. Cool. Well, anyways, Apple may have made it easier to hide my email or hide my email easier to block. So Apple's making a change to one of its most popular privacy features. And while the company says it's simply streamlining things, the move could have an unintended consequence. Later this summer, Apple will begin issuing new hide my email and sign in with Apple addresses under a new domain, private.icloud.com. Existing addresses will continue to work, but all new private email addresses generated by Apple services will use the new domain. On the surface, that sounds harmless. Hide My Email is an iCloud Plus feature that lets users create random email addresses that forward mail to their real inbox. It's a great privacy tool, right? That's good.
It is.
It's a way to cut down on spam.
Yes.
Kill the email if it's getting too much spam. Perfect. Because it prevents websites from collecting your actual email address and makes it easy to disable spam. Yeah, like I said, the problem is that Apple is changing where those addresses come from. Historically, many Hide My Email addresses used the normal iCloud ecosystem. So it would be like at iCloud.com, which is lots of valid email addresses from Apple that are in and out, right?
Yeah.
And
do you ever use yours?
No.
Okay.
But some people do.
No, I do know that some people do.
And so, it's valid to go in and out from at iCloud.com. So, but it's hard to block because you don't know if you're blocking a real person or not.
Correct.
Right. So with the new system, the address practically announces itself. If the user signs up with something at private.icloud.com, websites instantly know they're dealing with a privacy protected relay address. And that's where this gets wonky. Companies may block disposal email addresses like Mailinator, TempMail, and Gorilla Mail, and hundreds of others. So that's where you can just go online and click a button and get a temp email.
Yep.
And they already blocked those services, right? The entire purpose of those blocks is to prevent anonymous signups, multiple account creation, abuse, or simply users avoid marketing databases, which is why I would do it. Now Apple is handing those companies a dedicated domain they can block with a single rule. Instead of trying to identify whether an address might be a relay account, websites can simply say no private.icloud.com address is allowed. Same as they do with all the other temp emails.
Yeah.
So Apple is already telling developers and email providers to update their validation logic. Filtering systems allow lists and routing rules to recognize the new domain. The very thing that makes migration easy for legitimate services also makes it easy for services that want to reject privacy-focused users. To be fair, Apple probably has a good technical reason for this. The company is trying to unify two systems, hide my email, and sign in with Apple under a single infrastructure. Okay, but from a privacy perspective, this is backwards, right? Like, we don't want this. One of the strengths of Hide My Email was plausible deniability. A business couldn't easily distinguish a privacy-conscious user from an ordinary iCloud. We mentioned that. In other words, Apple didn't just remove a privacy feature. They may have just made it easier to for websites to identify and potentially discriminate against people that use private.icloud.com. And that'll be an interesting one to watch.
Can you still get the regular iCloud account?
I don't know. I think that the private.icloud.com is going to be for the mail, like the custom email addresses per website, and then you'll still be able to get an @icloud.com address.
Okay.
But the whole idea with the sign up with a different email address on every single website goes away.
Yeah, well, and then the other thing too is if people are paying attention to that sub of using private dot and not just the iCloud, like if they just start blocking all iCloud.
Oh, yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because some people might not be paying that much attention.
Right. Yeah. Good point.
Because that could cause issues if that was your main address.
Yep. Good point. So Amazon One Medical reportedly targeted. Now, I'd never heard of Amazon One. Had you?
I mean, I'd heard they're kind of trying to be a pharmacy. Is this that?
So if you've never heard of Amazon One Medical, it's Amazon's subscription-based healthcare company. For a monthly or annual fee, members get access to primary care physician, virtual appointments, prescription management, preventative care, and a growing ecosystem of digital healthcare services. Amazon acquired One Medical in 2023 for approximately $3.9 billion as a part of the push to become a major player in the healthcare field. Now, that healthcare business is being reportedly targeted by a major cybersecurity incident. The cyber criminal group known as Shiny Hunters is claiming it stole approximately 8.8 terabytes. That's a lot of data.
That is a lot of data.
Yeah. From Amazon-owned One Medical, and is threatening to release the information unless negotiations begin. Now, as always, with extortion claims, there's an important distinction to make. Just because a ransomware or an extortion group claims they have the data doesn't automatically mean the claim is legitimate.
Yeah, because Shiny Hunters has really proved that they're a bunch of liars.
However, Shiny Hunters has a long track record of high-profile breaches involving major corporations and government organizations, which means security researchers tend to take their claims seriously until proven otherwise. What makes this story especially alarming is that the type of data potentially involved, right? So we're not talking about shopping history or marketing information. One Medical is a healthcare company, right? If patients' records were accessed, the exposed information could include some of the most sensitive data that you could have.
Yes.
Right? So medical histories, diagnosis, treatment records, insurance information, contact details, and other health information. The timing is also notable. When Amazon purchased One Medical, privacy advocates immediately raised concerns Amazon already knew what people buy, what they watch, what they ask Alexa, and what they search for. Adding healthcare records to that mix, it's kind of a trifecta of stuff, right? It's
all
literally
things.
know all the things, and
Yeah.
we've got a wiretap in your house, and they listen to you all the time, and yeah. To be clear, there is currently a difference between what has been confirmed and what has been alleged. One Medical has separately disclosed a security incident involving a third-party storage system used for archived patient information and says that incident was limited in scope. The much larger 8.8 terabyte theft claim originates from Shiny Hunters and has not yet been independently verified. I mean, I went to Shiny Hunters' website.
Yep.
It's there. Not to download yet.
How much time do they have?
It didn't say.
Okay.
I don't know.
Do they not usually give time limits?
I thought they did, but I didn't see one. They said it's your final notice, but they all said that too. But if the claim turns out to be accurate, it would rank among the more significant healthcare security incidents of the year. Healthcare data is particularly valuable to criminals because unlike a credit card, you can't simply cancel your medical history and request a new one.
That wouldn't be very easy.
I mean, if you could, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, I mean, everyone would probably want to give up a few things.
Medical records often contain information for identity theft, insurance fraud, targeted phishing attacks, and long-term social engineering campaigns. The bigger lesson is that healthcare continues to be one of the most attractive targets for cyber criminals. Hospitals and insurers, clinics, pharmacies, and healthcare technology providers hold vast amounts of highly sensitive information, making them some of the highest value targets on the internet. And if the allegations against One Medical prove true, millions of patients may soon find themselves wondering whether some of their most personal information is now sitting on a hacker forum somewhere on the internet.
And that is just that'd be everywhere.
Right.
You just have to think of how many hospitals no longer manual chart anything.
Correct. It's all on a computer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and we've talked about it in the past about taking those medical records and the treatments and all that and putting it into AI and building like this ultimate database that doctors could use to treat and diagnose patients with rare diseases that other doctors have treated, but then maybe don't report or can't correlate that this is what they're solving.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, we've got this huge infrastructure of records. But I mean, in that same instance, being able to pump all that stuff into AI just puts it out there too.
I was going to say, it's just more data.
Yeah, more data. So anyways, did ear acupuncture cure a tick-borne red meat allergy? So one of the more unusual medical stories making the rounds this week involves alpha-gal syndrome, a condition caused by certain tick bites that can leave people allergic to red meat. For those who haven't heard of it, alpha-gal syndrome can cause reactions ranging from stomach problems and hives to severe allergic responses after eating beef, pork, lamb, and dairy products and other mammalian-derived foods. Weird, right?
That is weird.
Yeah, it's the Lone Star tick.
And you said Matt's brother has this?
Yes.
Interesting.
For many patients, the only accepted treatment has been simple. Avoid the foods that trigger the allergy. Can you imagine not eating a steak?
No.
Now a study is attracting the attention because of its remarkable statistics. Researchers reviewed 137 alpha-gal patients who underwent a specialized form of ear acupuncture known as Solomon Auricular Allergy Treatment, or SAAT. Among the patients who could be followed up with, 96% reported that their symptoms had gone into remission after the treatment, allowing many of them to return to eating mammalian products. If that sounds too good to be true, that's because many scientists would say exactly that. The study was a retrospective case, meaning researchers looked back at patient outcomes after the treatment. There was no control group, no randomization, and limited laboratory confirmation of results. Even the authors concluded the larger perspective trials are needed before stronger conclusions can be drawn. That's important because alpha-gal syndrome is unusual. Some patients improve naturally over time, especially if they avoid additional tick bites. Without a controlled study, it's difficult to know how much of an improvement came from the acupuncture itself and how much might have happened anyway. Still, the results were impressive enough that researchers and patients continue to talk about them years after publication. The study reported no significant adverse effects, and some sufferers described the treatment as life-changing. So where does that leave us? 96% remission isn't made up figure. That's a real thing, but it's also not proof that ear acupuncture cures alpha-gal syndrome. What we have right now is a fascinating result, a relatively low-risk treatment. So, no big deal.
Yeah.
Just go get your ear acupunctured. If it works, it works. If it don't, it don't. But if it works, it works.
Will you be telling Matt's brother about this?
I think I did already, actually.
All right.
All right. So just wanted to go over. Verizon just blew up its wireless lineup. Here's what's changed. So I want any of our listeners, if they're going to go into Verizon to update their plan, that they kind of have a little ammunition in their back pocket to know what they're going to get blindsided with here.
All right.
Yeah. So for years, Verizon plans followed a familiar formula. Pick a plan, lock yourself into a 36-month promotion, and hope you don't want to upgrade before the credit runs out. Now Verizon has launched an entirely new lineup, and it's one of the biggest strategic changes that we've seen from the company in years. And here's the new lineup, split into two families. You got the old way, Unlimited Welcome, Unlimited Plus, and Unlimited Ultimate. So $55.70, $85 a month. The new way, Simplicity, $45 a month, Simplicity Plus, $80 a month, and Simplicity Pro, $95 a month. $10 a month more.
That was like new names and everything went up in price.
At first glance, Simplicity looks like a cheaper Verizon plan, but that's not really what Verizon is selling. They're selling freedom from the 36-month financing trap. That's good.
I mean, yes.
The standard Simplicity plan costs $45 per month and includes unlimited data, 10 gig of hotspot, Canada and Mexico usage, satellite texting, and Verizon's ultra-wideband network. There are no device promotions attached. Bring your own phone, buy one outright, or finance one yourself. For a lot of people, that's a good thing. The carrier industry has spent years advertising free phones that are literally 36-month financing agreements disguised as discounts. Leave early and you lose the remaining credits. Simplicity says, here's a service, here's a price, do whatever you want with the phone. Simplicity Plus is for the iPhone upgrade crowd. For $80 a month, Verizon effectively gives you up to $830 phone and lets you upgrade every year. That's roughly the equivalent of getting a new flagship iPhone or Galaxy on a regular timeline. The advantage of that is you don't have to wait 3 years for promotional credits to mature. The catch, of course, you have to return the old device in good condition, and you're still participating in Verizon's financing ecosystem. This isn't ownership in the traditional sense. It's more like a phone subscription.
Yeah, I'm like, that doesn't really change.
But you're not locked into the 36 months.
I just want to know how many people actually go in and switch carriers.
It's not a big deal like it used to be.
Well, I'm just like, I have not switched in forever.
Yeah, it's not as hard as it used to be. You walk in 3 days later, your service is switched, and you don't know the difference.
Yeah.
For $80 a month, Verizon effectively gives you up to an $830 phone and lets you upgrade every year. That's roughly equivalent to getting a new flagship iPhone or a Galaxy on a regular timeline. The advantage, you don't have to wait 3 years. The catch, you have to return the old device in good condition. All right. Simplicity Pro. This is for the Ultra phones.
Okay.
Yeah. $95 a month. Verizon raises the device allowance to $1,200, covering premium devices like the Pro Max, Ultra Fold, and other flagship, high-end flagship. Annual upgrades remain available. This is clearly aimed at the people who always want the newest hardware and don't particularly care about owning a phone long-term.
Is Verizon really putting the word Ultra out? Because Apple hasn't even full-on dropped that.
I don't know. Maybe. Did they? No, they didn't.
I think you're adding shit in here. I'm all here for it.
That's Simplicity Pro, right? So
yeah.
It makes sense that it would be for the Ultra. We all know it's coming.
John has announced it.
I've announced it. I am basically the Steve Jobs of Spencer, Iowa. Anyways, we know they're coming. So it
makes sense.
You get the most credit for the money. So the old plans still aren't dead. Unlimited Welcome Plus and Ultimate still exists. Verizon didn't replace them. They added Simplicity alongside. So you can still lock yourself into a 36-month contract if you don't care.
Oh.
Yeah. For many families, the old plans still may be cheaper because they support multi-line discounts and the traditional promotional credits. Simplicity uses a flat per-line price, so a family of 4 doesn't automatically get the same savings they're used to seeing on Verizon. So the biggest gotchas that I saw, first, the advertised $30 Simplicity price is primarily a switcher promotion. Existing customers will see a $45 rate. Second, taxes and fees are still extra. The headline price isn't necessarily your bill. Third, video streaming remains capped, and you're not necessarily getting unrestricted high bitrate streaming just because you're on the premium network. Fourth, if you're a power hotspot user, the 10 gigabyte allowance on Simplicity isn't going to be that good for you.
Oh, because isn't it like 25 right now?
I have no idea.
I think so.
Okay.
Or maybe that's the one I have. I don't know.
And finally, if you're comparing this against Verizon-owned Visible, it's like a MVNO, but Verizon owns them, the math gets awkward. Visible still offers some surprisingly competitive options, especially for single-line users. So why is Verizon actually doing this? My guess is it isn't actually about the plans. It's about churn. So for years, Verizon's answer to slowing growth was price increases. Customers hated it. Subscriber growth suffered. And the new CEO, Dan Schulman, has openly said the company needs to stop relying on price hikes and focus on customer experience instead. Simplicity removes a lot of things that customers complain about: the activation fees, the upgrade fees, confusing promotional math, waiting 3 years for device credits, complex plan combinations. At the same time, Verizon is launching loyalty rewards, cashback, and annual upgrade programs to keep customers from looking at T-Mobile and AT&T. In other words, Verizon appears to have realized that customers don't want more perks. They want fewer headaches. And after years of increasingly complicated wireless plans, Verizon's latest strategy is simple. Make the bill easier to understand, make upgrades less painful, and give customers fewer reasons to leave.
I mean, in the perfect world.
In the perfect world. But they got to do something, because I know that Verizon is bleeding customers. I also know that T-Mobile's bleeding customers too after the price hikes.
Where's everyone going?
I don't know. Probably like Mint and these other ones that, Mint has a $12 plan.
True.
Like, oh, that sounds easy.
Yeah. I mean, you're right.
I just want a phone that has some internet on it, and that's all.
If you want to browse the internet, send a text message, be able to check Facebook.
And honestly, most people are on Wi-Fi now anyways.
True.
And so a ton of data isn't required.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Good luck, Verizon. All right, here we go, Logan. The latest iPhone Fold leak has arrived. I know. We've talked about the Apple's foldable more times than Apple has officially acknowledged it exists.
And John's already put him into Verizon's plans.
I've already put him in. But Logan keeps getting excited every time a new leak drops, and this might be the biggest one yet. So John Prosser just released what he claims are full renders of Apple's upcoming foldable iPhone. And if history is any guide,
have they changed from the other ones?
They're better.
All right.
Don't skip ahead.
I'm not skipping ahead.
All right. His leaks tend to be more accurate than most, that makes this one of the best looks of what Apple could unveil next year. Now, keep in mind, Apple is suing this guy, not about this, about something else
that he
leaked. Because he was right.
They shouldn't be mad at him. Someone's giving him the information.
The renders show what appears to be a book-style foldable device with a large inner display and a small outer screen, looking much closer to the Galaxy Fold than a flip phone. According to the leaks, the device could launch in black and white, feature a titanium frame, and finally bring Apple's take on the foldable category. Now, before everyone rushes out to say Apple invented foldable phones, we all know Samsung users would like to remind you they've been doing this for years. And that's the real interesting part of this story, as we mention all the time. Apple isn't first. Apple's never first. The company almost never tries to win by being first. It tries to win by being the company that waits until it believes the technology is mature enough to bring it to the mainstream. And that's exactly what happened with smartphones, tablets, smartwatches, and even wireless earbuds. The question isn't whether Apple can build a foldable phone. The question is whether Apple can convince millions of people who currently think foldables are a gimmick that they suddenly need one. From the renders, the design looks unmistakably Apple. Clean lines, minimal visual clutter, and a device that appears more like a folding iPad than a folding phone. I think this is a good strategy. Every time we've discussed a rumored device on the show, the thing that keeps coming up isn't the foldable screen itself. It's the possibility that Apple finally gives users a true pocket-sized tablet, something that users can run side-by-side apps, multitask properly, and bridge the gap between the iPhone and the iPad mini. If this is just a phone that folds, it's a niche product. If it's an iPad that fits in your pocket, Apple may have something much bigger. Of course, all this remains firmly in rumor territory until Apple actually walks onto the stage and announces it. We've seen plenty of foldable leaks over the years that never become real products. None with Apple.
I feel like there's usually come.
I'm confident this is happening. But if these renders are accurate, the foldable iPhone story is starting to move from the vague supply chain rumors to something that looks like they're going to actually ship it, which means Logan is probably going to bring this up next week and the week after. And if Apple actually announces the thing, probably every week after that.
I'm excited.
All right, so here's what we got for renders. So, kind of what we've talked about in the past. It's foldable. The dock looks hot. I think with being able to fold across the screen.
I like
at the bottom.
They're bringing the dock to a phone.
Yeah. Technically the phone has a dock. You just don't think about the thing at the bottom as a dock.
No, you're right.
Yeah. And then here's it folded all the way out and folded closed. Looks nice.
It does look nice.
Only 2 cameras. Not enough cameras. And then here's the side renders of it. So, pretty substantially thicker, which I'm okay with. Honestly,
I was like, that wouldn't bother me.
Then here's the renders of it closed. Apparently running on Boost Mobile.
But you might as well put a little advertising in there. Okay.
So yeah, with that, that's what I have for you today.
Well, I'm waiting for a date, John.
I can't.
You keep coming with
I can't
these
deliver.
pictures.
I can't deliver on that, Logan.
Amazon or Verizon's already updated their plans.
I've already predicted the future. The ultra plans.
That's hilarious. And the fact that you didn't even realize you did that was the best. Door access systems.
Yeah.
How, obviously it's all about security, keeping people in and out. How secure are they just being in your network for someone to take over that system?
So door access. So when I think about door access, I think it is a weak link. The software itself, I think, is seemingly untested for security vulnerabilities. I think that it's ripe for the picking. For example, some of our viewers know, listeners know that I've injected my hands with RFID, 125 kilohertz and 13 megahertz. And I've been able to use a flipper Zero and copy prox card keys onto the flipper and then write them right to my hand so I don't look suspicious when I'm walking around, and I could open doors and do all the things that I need to do when I'm in a building. So there are some newer features that have been coming out over the past few years, like card encryption, but not everybody uses it. In fact, I don't know anybody that really uses it.
Okay.
So because a lot of the readers have to read both the old standard and the new standard, and so people just continue to use the old standard. It's easier. The cards always work. With the encryption, they may not always work, right?
Yep.
Along with the actual system itself, I think the controllers and stuff, they're all PLC based. Like it's all old technology that literally is trust everything.
Okay.
So with door access, when we build a network with door access, we build a super controlled network that only a few people have access to that network, and it's a lot of times will require multi-factor authentication to get just even to the system to be able to control door access.
Okay.
And a lot of times door access are tied with cameras, especially nowadays. You've got somebody badging in and there's a camera on the door. We can put the name of the person who badged in a log file or on the screen too. So that way we can zoom back to the date and time that person came in.
Yep.
I mean, obviously when you think about the security implications of that, I mean, you're giving out people's personal information, right? That this guy punched in and punched out at this time. And it's even worse in schools where you have to worry about FERPA and student, keeping students private.
Yep.
So, a lot of people kind of write off door access systems as simple and, don't worry about it. It's just a door access system, default passwords, everything else. But when you really distill it down, I think that door access systems and cameras are some of the easiest things to manipulate and pose some of the biggest danger.
Okay.
So, yeah, I mean, the fact that I could get into the system, unlock the doors, get in and rob you.
Yeah.
Right. And control access to the cameras so I can shut cameras off and modify cameras. I mean, if you, so I'm going to let a little secret out. So we had a contractor one time that was doing cameras at a building, and I was taking over the IT role at the building, and I said, the IT person was let go or left. I don't remember what happened, but I asked the company, can I please have the password to get into the camera? I don't need it for the NVR, but I need access to the camera. And he told me that their company refuses to give that information. So it was an Avigilon system. And I spent a little time digging with Dawson at the office trying to figure out how we could get this password. So I discovered that I could dump the Avigilon config file, and I could find the usernames and passwords in the binary dump.
For all the cameras?
For all the cameras. If they were added to the system, I had the cameras. The alternative was to go to each camera and factory default it and re-add it.
Okay.
But we were able to dump the AVS file and open it in Notepad, search the IP of the camera, and it was like IP, username, password. And the worst part, Logan, the passwords were so stupid.
Was it something they would have said, or it's just
they
default?
would have said it.
Okay.
And they probably said it the same password everywhere.
Yeah.
It was so stupid. He could have just told us the password. I mean, that company hasn't been back.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I don't get about, I'm going to rant here. That's what I don't get about a lot of contractors. Like at A&P, I don't do this. If a customer wants to know their passwords or they want to know whatever, I give them to them, right? What power does a contractor think they have by not telling you something?
Yeah.
All that's going to do for me as a security professional or as a network administrator is going to make me more angry at them. And I'm going to do everything that I can do to make sure that they never come on site again.
Yeah.
I'm going to dump. I'll spend more time and money than what it's worth to go out and reset those cameras just to make sure that they never come back.
Yeah.
Like I'm sure there's other IT security professionals out there that think similarly to me, because when I buy cameras or I buy door access, they're mine. They're not anyone else's.
Correct.
So I even had the new IT person that I was working under send an email to that company requesting the password, and they still refused.
Wow.
At what point is it extortion or stealing, crime?
Yeah.
I mean, in the web industry, you guys have dealt with this for years. If somebody doesn't pay their bill, what do? Do you shut their website off? How does it work? Right? It's one of those things but it's like, it's not your website. It's their website.
Yeah. It's just your server.
Right. Correct. So that's what I think.
That sounds good. That's all I got for you
All
today,
right.
John.
Like, comment, subscribe, do all the things, and we'll see you next time.